Alright guys, for most of the day I have to sand some handles and then make about 8 nice sheaths like a madman today, get those done. But this morning is nice and cool outside, so, which is a little, not unusual, but usually isn't this cool. So we're going to fire up the forge and we're going to put our bottom swage and our new drifts to work and see how they do. One of the things that I've learned while developing this 2-pound small axe is that whenever you change a small variable, you inevitably change all kinds of things down the line. So I originally was trying to forge these, or was forging these out of 3/4 inch thick stock, and in order to get the weight I had to use a longer piece of stock than I wanted to, which would require forging it down. So in my opinion, the perfect dimensions for stock would be 2.5 inches wide by 1 inch thick, but I can't get that. It goes up to 3 inches wide, so now I have to forge it anyway. I have to forge it down thinner, so it's kind of one way or the other, but it's easier to draw stuff out than it is to upset it, so I went that direction. And you can see me starting to punch here, starting to punch the eye, keeping that square and centered and everything and straight, which usually I go super slow just to start that, and once you get it started straight, you usually have better results. And here I'm trying to correct it a little bit, and that's just never a good thing. But even with the side to side, even with it being out a little bit, all that can be corrected up to quite a severe point. I mean, you don't want to have a lousy punch, but you can still correct that quite a bit, so it's not a game stopper. Alright, up until this point everything has been business as usual, but now we get to try out the drifts that we made yesterday. So, fingers crossed, let's hope that it all goes like we want it to. Which probably won't happen, but we'll figure it out. Now if you remember in the last video I commented that I might have to shorten this drift right here, and I do that later. But it's working pretty well, and it's amazing how, once you've punched the eye, it's amazing how much side-to-side movement there is, and so you can actually direct that drift by tipping your workpiece for whatever that's worth. But getting that centered, keeping that centered, is just kind of a continual, something that you continually keep an eye on as you move forward. So this is where I got a little too excited with the fuller here, and I should have stopped right there. That's enough, no more, but I didn't. Maybe even a little less than the original thing, but oh well. One thing that was nice is, so I went back to my original, or my first long drift to draw out the cheeks, you know, pull those ears down, and that worked pretty well. I like how that worked on this project. But as you can see, I really, you know, fullered that out too much and gave myself some problems. I could have fixed that by using these dies more aggressively or something to draw that widthwise as well instead of lengthwise so much like I'm doing here. But live and learn. So it's time to try our handy dandy swage, I guess is what you call it, and it looks pretty bad right here. I ended up taking a little more material out of the middle radius there, and I don't think I should have done that. The back shoulder that pole is sitting on, that should be okay, but if we had that little bit more material, I don't know. I hammered on it for a little while, and it got a lot closer, so it really was not as bad as it looked initially. But it's not, I don't know, it's not perfect, but I have to come back and not fuller that out so bad because you have to have material to move to your swage instead of just nothing there. So this really wasn't an excellent test run on that. But here's our finished dimensions drift, and working great. See, this allows you to just, with flat dies, nothing special, be able to drift that down almost the entire way and get your finished dimensions. So that's really nice. That worked pretty well. And the other purpose for this fuller here is to give us a support to drift from the top side with our finished dimension drift. And I ran into the fuller, as you can imagine, but that's easily remedied. Alright guys, well we have another axe forged, and this is not quite the axe that I set out to forge. I got a little carried away on the fullering. It was just so much fun to squish that metal, and I did it a little bit too much, so you know, it's a little thinner through here, narrower through here than I wanted. It's still going to function just fine and make a great little axe. I mean, the handle's going to come to right here, so by the time it's hung, it's not going to look funny like it does right now to me. At least that's just me. But anyway, I have to go and make some sheaths. So this is going to go in the kiln, and we're going to run it through thermocycles and all that good stuff and get it heat treated. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next video.